Alrighty everyone, welcome back. I hope you're all having an amazing summer, by the way. Everybody doing good? Alright, awesome. So there's a lot of things going on right now with Lucasfilm, with Disney, and given that Bob Iger, of course, is dealing with a lot of fallout related to Snow White, Indiana Jones 5, and of course the upcoming, Disney releases overall. Now, we know that there's a lot of things happening between Iger and the board and how it's all rooted back to Kathleen Kennedy and her mishandling of the Dial of Destiny, essentially costing Disney hundreds of millions of dollars, and how it has actually brought Disney on a different path for how Star Wars is going to be treated. However, there is a major development surrounding Kathleen Kennedy and handling, of course, Lucasfilm projects. Let's get into this. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support, and let's get right into the situation. Now, we know that there's a lot of ups and downs when it comes to Star Wars in the past. I always felt like that Rogue One was really the closest thing that we got to George Lucas's Star Wars. That's just my opinion, at least whatever was under Disney's wing. That was probably the closest you ever got to George Lucas's version or take on Star Wars. Now, one thing about the board and Bob Iger is that they recently took a major stand against Kathleen Kennedy. This was something that happened about a week ago, but things have progressed ever since then, and there's more to talk about this. So what's interesting about this is that we know that Kathy Kennedy put herself in a very tough spot by overly funding Indiana Jones 5 for specific scenes that ended up getting deleted anyway, putting her in the hot seat. Now, with Kathleen Kennedy and Leslie Headland still working on the Acolyte series to this day for 2024, Disney and the board took action since the failure of the Dial of Destiny and how it is causing issues for Lucasfilm. With several new shows set to be announced next year, some of which will be at D23 for September, recently Kathleen Kennedy was not only fired from 2 of them as a producer, but also an additional third one of a show, making it up to 3 whole shows that she was let go from as a producer. First, she was let go from The Mandalorian Season 4 and an untitled Star Wars show that will be unveiled at D23. But Kennedy was also fired as a producer by Disney from the planned Thrawn and Ezra Bridger spin-off series that is described to serve as a prequel to the Ahsoka Tano show, showcasing the events before that series and really elaborating on Thrawn and Ezra Bridger's story getting stuck in a section of the galaxy called the New Beyond, which may or may not refer to the unknown regions. The Ezra and Thrawn spin-off series is said to be replacing Ahsoka Season 2, as Disney wants to only embrace Ahsoka spin-offs instead of extra seasons, after Disney decided to do away with a second one for Ahsoka 2 weeks ago after the cost containment plan by Disney went active. Now, with Kennedy now fired from 3 whole major Star Wars shows as a producer for Disney Plus, and Jon Favreau taking over as a producer for the upcoming shows, this may very well spell the beginning of the end for Kennedy's influence on Lucasfilm projects, as Lucasfilm lost hundreds of millions of dollars with Indy 5. Now guys, let me just stop here for one moment before we get to the more involved material. Now, we know that Kathleen Kennedy has been a force of nature, and not in the good sense, a disaster, if you will, for Star Wars. I always like to call her the disaster artist. I think that she really just destroyed 3 major franchises and has the worst ways of justifying why she did things in a different way for Indy, for Star Wars, and Willow. And guys, mind you, she also, unbelievably, as much as it may come across as a shock, played a large role in the downfall of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. She's a very dear friend of Kevin Feige, and she passed on a lot of ideas and insisted ideas upon Kevin on how to do things with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that's why you've lately been getting a lot of these agendas in these upcoming films and these TV shows, and that's why the last phase took a little bit of a downturn, and the next phase is looking a little wishy-washy. They really have to make some improvements. I think that Deadpool 3, though, is going to be enjoyable. Unfortunately, though, they did stop filming for that because of the strikes, but I digress. Alright, let's get on to this. Now, on top of this, the Ezra and Thrawn spin-off series was supposed to begin getting written by John and Dave this August, but the strikes are likely to delay all of that. It is still maintaining a 2025 release date window, however. Now, Kennedy reportedly got into a heated argument behind closed doors with the Disney higher-ups as they want to dial it down with Kennedy as a producer for many of the Star Wars projects. The Disney board is still divided on firing Kathleen Kennedy altogether from Lucasfilm. However, a growing number of board members are going against Kennedy, which is a big transition that has never happened before in the past. Now, I don't know about you guys, but her getting fired from 3 Lucasfilm projects that are described to be major projects, it's not enough. She has to be let go from Lucasfilm entirely as a president, get somebody else on board, and call it a day. Now, we know that the board is calling the shots on this. They are very much divided over whether or not they want to move forward with doing that original plan with August of firing her altogether. That's still, of course, in the cards, but they're not quite sure how to really handle that. Now, we know that there are still 3 candidates on the waiting list or on standby to take over. We got Dana Brunetti, we got Simon Kimber, we got Neil H. Moritz, just to name a few, and more entering onto that list to take over as the Lucasfilm president. Now, again, like I say, we know that Kathleen Kennedy, the disaster artist, has only caused so much damage that may very well be unfixable at this point. I mean, it really is going to take John and Dave a lot of talent, a lot of luck, a lot of hard work, and a really good work ethic to get things back rolling. And I know a lot of fans have had divided, thoughts on the Ahsoka Tano series full-length trailer. Go ahead and check it out. Let me know what you think about that. But there's a lot of people that are very off-put by it. There's other people that are very hopeful about it. I think that a lot of people are just very standoffish nowadays, very skeptical because of what happened with Mando Season 3, let's be honest. So the only plus, the only one-up about the Ahsoka show is that Kennedy really had no involvement in the story, but she did have some level of influence on Dave Filoni. It's why, for example, Sabine Wren is taking Ezra Bridger's lightsaber and using it in that show. Does it not remind you of Rey using Luke's lightsaber? Does that ring a bell? It's almost like a copy and paste situation again. Just like how the Darksaber was destroyed in Mando Season 3, as the Skywalker saber was destroyed in The Last Jedi. It's no different. It's really copy and paste material, and I can see why fans are getting very tired of that. I really can. So, look, there's a lot of things coming out of this. There's a lot of problems arising. This is only creating more issues for Lucasfilm and Disney at hand. And I think, at the end of the day, if Ahsoka comes to fail, if it really does not perform very well for the audience, I think that Disney's in real trouble with Star Wars, and you're going to see a lot of cutbacks, even more so than what you are witnessing right now at the cutbacks by Bob Iger. So anyways, guys, I would love to hear your take on the entire scenario involving Kennedy and these Lucasfilm projects and her removal from them as producer. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
From night to moon.